So first of all, if you just tell me your name.
My name?
Yeah.
Terry O'Toole.
So where were you born?
I was born in Liverpool in 1941.
What type of a house did you live in?
I lived in a terrace house in Campbell, which is no longer there. Frontal Road, it's called. That's it, really. That's where I was born.
What did your parents do for a living?
My father was killed in 1942 when I was, well, not even 2 really. And my mother was a market trader in the local markets around there, clothes, things like that.
How was your father killed?
He was killed, he was a merchant seaman, and he, because I was born, and of course there was lots of shipping losses then, you know, in the war, and she asked him to get a shore job, and he got a job on the docks. I don't know what he was doing, but he had a blackout. They used to call it blackout then, I don't know what was wrong, and was hit by a train on the docks. So he should have stayed going to sea, shouldn't he, really?
When you were a child, did you want to be an artist?
Not consciously, no. I mean, it's like drawing. My brother was better than me. No, I wasn't in my scheme of things. I didn't have any ambitions whatsoever when I was a child. Like, just to play, you know, be a child, basically.
And what school did you go to?
I went to a Catholic school, St John's, juniors and seniors, yeah.
When you left school, what did you do?
When I left school, my first job was as an office boy in North John Street, which was right opposite the Cavern, funny enough. But of course, the Cavern wasn't very well known then. It was a club, I think, at that time. So I'm talking about 1950, I don't know, 1956, 57. Excuse my cold on you. Yeah, that was my first job as an office boy. You know, making the tea, answering the phone. And what amazed me once, because the office was right at the entrance to the suite of officers, if you like. And an old fellow came in who looked like a docker to see one of the solicitors, and he called me sir. I thought, my God, I've made it. I was only about 15.
So could you tell us how you got from an office boy to being in the Mojos?
Well, there was quite a number of jobs then, before that. And the next job was as a van delivery boy, yeah. And it was cigarettes, a cigarette company called Breen's. It was a family firm, wholesale tobacco. And that's where I learned to drive. I was driving when I was 17. They taught me to drive, and that was really the beginning of my life, because from there I went on to London. My friend Frank, we lived in Windsor for a year, doing various jobs down there, not anything musical, you know. But before, sorry, I missed something out here. Before I went to London, I was in a band, a guitarist called John McGee. Have you ever heard of him? No? Well, he was quite well known at the time. And John McCormick, who's now in the Spinners, I think. Or was in the Spinners. And it was like a kind of a medium jazz band, really. And it was in a Polish club in Catherine Street called the White Eagle. And that was my first inroads into music, right.
How did you join that band?
By chance, really. My friend Frank worked in a shop with this Johnny McGee fellow, And Johnny McGee used to draw guitars on the window. You know, he used to put whitening on the windows. Apparently he used to draw guitars on the window all day long. And he said, can you play guitar? And he said, yes. And he said, well, my friend Terry plays the piano. So one night he turned up with John McGee, and he said, I'm starting a band, can I hear you play? And I played something. He said, okay, we've got a gig on Saturday. No practice, nothing like that. So we had a gig, I think it was a wedding or something, in a Chinese wedding near Penny Lane. And so that was the first one. And then we played them in the club. After that, we got the job in the club. And then we went to London with Frank. I went to London with Frank, running away from two women who Frank was keen to get away from. However, we went to London. I was there for a year, came back again, joined up with John again, briefly, you know, for about a month. We didn't get on very well, actually. And then I got another job. It was like a job which I needed a bit of money, and I got a driving job, a black van, with a firm called Samuels, who were wholesale dress company, in Camden Street, which is just off London Road. Then oh that's right, yes. I used to park the van outside my house. I was living with my mother then, of course. And I'd met Mary, so we were courting, and I was about 21, 22. And there's a knock at the door one night, and there was a guy called Adrian Lord, who lived just around the corner from me. I didn't know him. And he said, is that your van? I thought he was going to say it's been wrecked or something. He said, no. Yeah, I said, yes, why? He said, well, I've got a band, and we want someone to run us around, and we'll pay you. I said, how much will you pay me? He said, well, we'll give you £2 every time you run us around, which I suppose wasn't bad in those days, £2 in 1960, something like that. So I used to run them around on a Saturday and sometimes a Sunday, sometimes during the week. And we were in the Blue Angel. They used to go to the Blue Angel. Do you know the Blue Angel? Yeah, yeah, it's still going, is it? I think it is, isn't it?
Yeah. It is.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, it's still going. And they used to have a grand piano as you went in on the left. And people used to get on and play, you know. Anyway, we'd done a gig, and we went to the Blue Angel afterwards for a drink. And I had a little go on the piano. And at that time, the singer in the Mojos, Stu James, his name was Stu Slater really, but he changed his name later to Stu James. He'd left and gone with, I can't remember the name of the band now. Anyway, he joined another band, and they were looking for a pianist. Anyway, they didn't even know I could play. I was running around, but they didn't know I could play the piano. And I was playing the scrap piano, you know, and showing off basically. And he was talking at the bar to George Harrison, right? I think it was with Ringo at the time. And he was he knew George from the Cavern. And he was talking to him, and he was telling the story about the pianist gone off to the Big Three, I think it might have been. Yeah, it was the Big Three. Or Farron, Farron's from Ringo's? That's right, it was Farron's from Ringo's, when he joined in. Anyway, and as he's telling him, he's listening to me playing the piano, and George said, why don't you get him, you know, on the piano? He didn't know I was running around in the van. He said, why don't you ask him? And he said, I didn't know he could play. And then he said, hey, listen, do you want to join the band? I said, okay. So then we started. Of course, then I lost my income from the band, because we were only getting about £3 a gig or something. So I was getting nothing then, but I was running around and playing. And it wasn't really what I wanted to do. It wasn't my kind of music. I didn't like rock and roll, basically. Or whatever they were playing, I don't know. And but anyway, we got going, and then next thing we get a job in Hamburg, and we get signed to Decca, because Adrian had previously written a song for Decca called Forever, and they wanted us to record in Hamburg while we were there, because we were there for about 6 to 8 weeks, I forget now. And we made the record, Everything's Alright, and it became a hit, and that's how we started on the road. And then we were on the road for about maybe 2.5, 3 years, on tour with the Stones, Dave Clark 5, met everybody, you know. We were friendly with the Stones. I was particularly friendly with Brian Jones. He was a nice lad, actually. I wasn't too keen on the others, actually, but there you go. Dave Clark 5, absolutely not. Horrible people. Sorry Dave, you're still alive. And that's it. And I left about 2.5 years later. Of course I was married by then, I got married by then. And I needed some security and I got a job. And again, I went back to different jobs, and various jobs. And then when I was 30, I decided I wanted to be an artist. And then I went to college.
Can I just take you back a bit?
Yeah.
Anything about John Lennon? Did you meet John Lennon?
I never met John. I met him once at in Southport, funny enough. We'd gone to Southport to this do. It wasn't a gig, it was, I forget what it was now. It was just like a big get-together of various musical things. And as they were going out, we shook hands with them, you know. And I remember John saying, "He's pissed," to me. I think I was actually at the time. And that was it. Yeah, that's it. I never met John. I knew Paul very well, because I used to go to Blue Angel a lot. And in fact, the piano I had, it was like, I can't remember the name of it now, but it wasn't a very good one. At the time it was okay, but looking back it wasn't. It's Mickey Mouse really. And I just got it, and Paul was interested in this piano. And he said, "Could I have a go?" And I said, "Yeah, have a go." And he played it. And he bought me a drink, and then we used to meet up at the back, you know, half a bitter each, and that was it. Not friends, but we would just talk to each other, and that was that. Yes, so.
And Ray Davies of the Kinks.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, Ray, they were on tour with us, the Kinks, with which tour was it now? Was it the Stones or Dave Clark 5? I'm not sure now. Anyway, we were on tour with them, and I was very friendly with Ray, because he was writing at the time, and so were we. And we used to sit in dressing rooms and, you know, have a little go together. Yes, he was a nice lad actually. His brother was a bit of a nutter, but there you go.
I read somewhere that Ray Davies was very friendly with people, you know, Merseybeat and Waterloo Sunset. That was going to be called Liverpool Sunset.
Oh, I don't know about that.
No.
Yeah.
You told us about touring and things got on your nerves, like the way people ate and everything, because you
Oh
were...
yes. Yeah. Well, of course, it's inevitable. You know, you're in a van and you're on the road. Of course, these agents, they want you to work, you know, 24/7 basically. And we never stopped. We were going, and of course, gigs had to be so far apart. You know, you couldn't play in Manchester and Liverpool one night after another. So, I mean, we might have been in Glasgow, and then the next gig might have been Great Yarmouth. So you'd leave Glasgow after the gig, drive down through the night, get to Great Yarmouth for band practice in a theatre or whatever, and then you weren't playing there until what, 8 o'clock at night, 7 o'clock at night, and then the next gig might have been in the South Coast or something like that. You know, very far apart. That was the reason it was far apart, because they didn't want to double up on audiences, I suppose. You know, and that was that. So we never stopped. Of course, we were in the van all the time, and everyone was getting on everybody's nerves. The van was packed. We had the road manager and a road manager's assistant in a Bedford van. And we had a new van, a Bedford van I think it was, and it had sliding doors at the side, which was new then. And it was great because, you know, we could all get in separately, you go into your seats. But the first time we used the van in London, we had a crash. Well, I didn't, the van driver did. And the side door got smashed in. So for the next 2.5 years, it was unserviceable. So it was back to square one. You never had it fixed all that time. But we did 50,000 miles in a year. Can you believe that? 50,000 miles in a year. It's a lot of miles. On the road, virtually non-stop. Very rarely got home.
You just got sick of it?
Oh, it was too much, you know. Yeah, I mean, I was married as well, you know. Had a kid. Our first kid. 65, 64. So, I just felt more responsible, I had to be more responsible and be at home, basically.
So how did you get into the art school? What did you have to do?
Right, what I had to do was, well, first of all, I had to do the first year, what do you call it now?
Foundation.
Foundation, yeah. And I applied to Liverpool. I went to night school to do art, to get some work together. And I had already had some O-levels, you know, but I didn't have art, so I went to do art at night school. I got some work together, and then I applied for Foundation at Liverpool, and they said I didn't have enough work to justify getting in. So I came home and I talked to Moira, and I said, well, I'll do history then. I'll do it, because I like history. I'll do history instead of art. I said, well, there's another place in Wallasey, you know, there's an art college in Wallasey, which I did know about actually, and I'd never thought about it. So I, you know, try there. So I went to Wallasey, had an interview with the head man there, the head honcho, whose name escapes me now, but he was a lovely man. He was fantastic. And he said, why wouldn't they let you in there? I said, well, he said they didn't have enough work. He said, well, I'm letting you in here because I think your work's good. He let me in. I really worked hard that year. I became top pupil. At a little exhibition at the Williamson Gallery. Won £5 for my efforts. And then applied to Liverpool, and I got in, no problem.
Ray Davies went to art school, didn't he?
I think so, yeah. Did
other band members talk about going to art school, or?
None of my band, no. No, no, there was no interest in art in my band, no.
Where did the idea to be an artist, where did that come from?
Well, let's put it this way. My first year at art school, we were in the deaf school, right, which is now gone, of course.
When you were at the art school in 75, 70, did it feel like a creative space? Did the people in there feel like they had creative energy?
Well, what I was amazed at about the art school was that you were left alone a lot, right? Do you remember was it Dave Saunders?
I do, yes.
Well, he was my tutor. And he was like the intellectual one, wasn't he?
He was.
He used to write for these top magazines and everything. And he came, you know, I think in 3 years I was there, I think he came to see me about twice in that 3 years. And then there was the end of year assessments. But, you know, personally, he came to see me about twice in 3 years. But you were left, and he didn't say, oh, you're a great painter, Terry, or you could do this. Or, he wasn't very committal, if you like, about your work. And, but, you know, it didn't harmed me. And I don't think it harmed anybody else, really. What's the alternative? You're told what to do. You maybe go to life class for 3 years. Some people did. Some people worked on their own. Some people did nothing till the last year, you know, and put together a few paintings and got a bit of a degree, you know. But there you go. But I worked hard. I did.
How did it feel being a mature student?
Well, I wasn't the maturest student. There was John Green and Phillips, what's his name? Well, he's still going, still painting now. Pete Phillips, do you know? And John Green, they were older than me. So I wasn't the... Oh, and Jeff Price, do you remember Jeff Price?
No.
Jockey, ex-jockey.
Oh yes.
Do you remember him?
Yeah, I do know.
He was a year ahead of me, but he was much older than me, yeah. So, there was... And there was a few women there who were quite mature students as well. So I wasn't that mature. That's about 30, 32, something like that.
Anything else?
Not really about that I can think of.
No.
Did you make a reasonable living while you were working with the Mojos?
We made a lot of money, but we spent a lot of money. Because, as you said, we had to go to hotels, we had to buy clothes, we had to buy our own food on the road, in hotels, and really what we made was spent, and of course enjoying yourself as well. One thing is, my mother used to be, when we first started, my mother couldn't believe that I'd come home with no shirts, because we used to leave them. If they got dirty, we used to leave the shirts in the hotels and things. Because, we were blokes, we didn't go to laundrettes and things like that. We used to buy them and leave them. We used to waste money, basically. When we were in London, we'd get taxis everywhere. You got your money, you spent it. So I ended up, after all that, with no money.
It's a very common story, that
Oh,
one.
yeah. Yeah. There's the group up there.
Mm. Might be nice if you hold that picture while I take a photo.
Where's the group? Oh, yeah. You take a photograph of that.
Yeah.
Interesting.
There's one there with silver black on the left.
There was a good programme about Cilla Black on last week.
Yeah, I saw it.
It was good, wasn't it? Yeah.
I thought she was great,
Yeah.
I thought she had a great voice.
Yeah.
I really did.